podcast. My name is Luke Miller, your host, and my mission with this podcast is to always strengthen the tile industry. We are doing this with our business discussions and education designed for contractors by contractors. Tile Money is assisting tile contractors around the world to build profitable, sustainable businesses. The result? A stronger industry from the installer up. Today we got another great discussion lined up for you. We got a second timer, and I'm going to be having a lot of these this year in 2022. A lot of reoccurring guests. We had Brent Posusta on in March 16th of 2021. And if you missed that interview, I highly recommend you check it out. The link is in the show notes. This time he brought a guest with him. It is his business mentor that he's hired since we had our first discussion. And it's amazing to see the improvements and the growth that Harley has been able to help Brent with over the last 6 or 9 months that they've been working together. I know you're going to enjoy this. Before we get to the episode, though, I do need to thank the sponsors of the show. The NTCA, the National Tile Contractors Association, that could be your most valuable resource as a tile contractor. They are 75 years old as an association this year, and so they can answer any question you have when it comes to the business of tile, being a tile contractor, or installations, assist you with your complicated problems in the field, or you can introduce yourself and meet an expert. Whatever the case might be, join the NTCA to meet some of the most profitable and professional tile contractors in the United States and North America. Liechty International, we want to thank Liechty, a great leading innovator in tile installation materials world. They literally invented thinset and won the World Trade Center contract for providing that lightweight solution to build the world's tallest buildings at the time. How cool is that? A great American story. Family-run, privately held company with family values that you can feel. Liechty provides everything you need to install tile, from waterproofing, grout, and silicone. It is a one-stop shop. GoBoard is an innovative tile backer board manufactured by Johns Manville. Discover the possibilities with this easy-to-cut and handle waterproof product. It's very lightweight, very durable. Carry a bunch of boards. You can achieve ANSI A118.1 compliant installations using their GoBoard Pro sealant. It's in the 20-ounce sausage packs, guys. Ask your distributors to grab them. Learn more, jm.com/GoBoard. HappyTileGuy.com is where tile contractors are getting professional websites built, fully search engine optimized for lead generation, and that is your online hub in 2022 for your tile contracting business. That is where everybody wants to go to learn more about you after they've seen you on social media. All right, everyone, enjoy this episode with Brent and Harley. I know you're going to dig it. So yeah, no, thanks for joining me, guys. It's good to have Brent back in the studio. It's been about a year. We got the Red Bull man. We got Harley joining us.
That's right.
Ready to go. And Brent has just gotten back from some training, so he is all pumped up. And
yeah, I am.
We're going to have a fun show today, I think. So why don't we do some introductions, Brent, and then Harley. Why don't Brent, you introduce yourself? And we do have, of course, that first episode, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes so people can listen to that. But if you want to just give us an overview of who you are and where you're at in the world.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Brent Posusta with Custom Installations, and I'm out of Silver Lake, Minnesota, and I'm currently running a brick and mortar flooring installation shop specializing in custom tile installation, hardwood floor refinishing. We do LVP install. And that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. And we go, like I mentioned, we go real deep on the first one, from, the Brent's beginning in the trade, his really early years all the way up to where he's at today. So it's well worth a listen. And if you've heard it, you might want to re-listen to it. Harley, who are you? Why are you here today? And what's going on with that shirt?
Yeah. Well, I got invited by you, so I appreciate it. So my name's Harley. I born and raised down in Dallas, Texas. I'm up in Tulsa, Oklahoma now. I work at a place called Redmond Growth Consulting, where we got connected with Brent earlier this year in order to help him grow his tile company and flooring company. But we work with contractors all across the nation. We're at about a little under 150 business owners we work with right now. And this animal print shirt is because it's Thursday. And Thursdays, we wear Hawaiian shirts or animal print shirts. So this is why I'm swagging this.
I love it.
I'm glad you have an excuse, Harley. Good alibi.
Right. Yeah. Good alibi.
But you're rocking it.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's Thirsty Thursdays tonight. It's Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah, same. It's Thirsty Thursday. Yeah.
Drinks, when I was single, there was always good drink specials, it seemed like, on Thursdays. Downtown Minneapolis, I remember all the breweries and stuff like that would have that special. Anyway, and Harley's here today. Frankly, Brent suggested. How long have you been working together, by the way?
What do you think? I think we're going on, is it a half a year, Harley?
About 6 months?
Oh, yeah, I think over half a year. I think our first conversation was back in March this year.
Oh, wow.
March or maybe even April. I'd have to
Time flies when you're having fun.
Nice. So 7-8 months. So I reached out to Brent and I said, Brent, I got to get you back on the podcast. We had such a great conversation the first time. I want to see where you're at, because it's been, I think, over 1 year since we've gotten together. So you guys must have met, 5-6 months after we last recorded our episode. And then, we started talking, Brent, and then all of a sudden you text me one day. You're like, I got a great idea. My business has benefited greatly. I've got Harley, a business coach. He's helping me out in all these areas, and I want to bring him on. So that's how this got started. So I'm really looking forward to today's, conversation, because Brent has built something incredible, and when he says it's getting better, and Harley's one of the key components here, we definitely want to break into that, for sure. And when I talked to Harley said, you know what it is? I wanted to focus on helping Brent make a remarkable tile contractor company, and you really emphasize that word, remarkable. So that's kind of the theme of today, is how can a tile contractor become remarkable, and what that means. What does that mean, Harley, when you say a contractor business can be remarkable?
Yeah. So let's give a short answer and a long answer. The short answer is simply that you're better than everyone else at everything, including to the pinpoint details of how much better your business card is than everyone else. And I mean, so that's the short answer. The long answer is where this comes from. This comes from a book called Purple Cow by Seth Godin, one of the best minds in the marketing world today. And what he illustrates in this book is that he was traveling with his family out to France. And apparently in like kids' books, there's a lot of like pasture images with lots of cows roaming and animals and stuff like that. Well, in France, that's like a real thing. So he was driving out in France. There's like hundreds of cows just on these pasture lands as he's driving with his family. So he's like, wow, okay, this is a crap ton of cows here. That's amazing. But then like 5-10 minutes go by and it's the same cows throughout the whole time. So he's like, okay, well, let's think about other stuff, the same old. But then he thinks to himself, he's like, wait a minute, what if there was a purple cow in the middle of all those cows out there? I bet I would want to park the car, go take a picture with this purple cow, share it, talk about it with other people, because that is a crazy looking cow and that's remarkable. And what his truth is that with all these businesses that are out there, contractors, real estate agents, tech companies, there's a ton of guys that are all saying the same things about what they provide. And we were preached for decades and decades and decades to just market, get your name out there, spend the advertising dollars. But it's gotten to the point where there's just way too much information out there. So it's not you just spending more money than others, but especially in the beginning. And then as you get to a higher ad budget, you need to make yourself look more remarkable. What makes you stand out versus any of the other hardwood flooring guys, any of the tile companies, any of the roofing guys, where you're not just saying the same spiel every time, but you're doing things as simple as having weekly team meetings where you bring in breakfast and you're feeding the guys in order to have a good team meeting. Like it's just simple as that, where you get to say, hey, my company's different because we do these cool things.
I love it. I love it. It's so true. I mean, what do? I install tile. Well, okay. It's the pasture of cows, man. The pasture of contractors, pasture of flooring contractors. And after a while, they all get to, they all get to look the same, the vision gets blurred, so what type of things would you work on initially if somebody said, all right, I pick up what you're putting down. I like this, how does someone start to think about differentiating themselves in this way? Is it just the tiny little things? I mean, is it a mindset?
Well, I mean, Brent's here, and this is all about Brent's success and growth over the past few months. So, Brent, what did we start working on in the first couple months?
Rallying the team together and defining that I'm the captain of the ship here. And it's either you're with me or you're not. And me really understanding that I'm the one who's putting in the most energy and the most time, and I am responsible. I'm the captain of the ship, but I delegate any and all things out that I can. So delegating out and just everybody understanding their role and what their role is within the company, creating systems, and we can talk about that later, and communication. These team meetings that Harley talks about every Monday morning. The question to me that I have, why, Harley, how scared to death was I to implement my whole team at the same time, which is 5 guys? Why was I so scared to talk to all 5 of them at the same time? They're my employees. Some of them have been here for 7 years. Get them all in a circle at the same time and talk about last week, how it went, how we can do better. Let's talk about this upcoming week and talk about goals that we're going to have. Harley, did I fight it?
You were very hesitant about it. And I'll give you some credit because, these are things that like people hear about doing, like weekly team meetings or tracking results or just any of these other like business book things that you read about. But it's not done a lot in small businesses because it's not normal. Like as simple as it sounds, like having a weekly team meeting, for instance, here's some of the things that could be obstacles for somebody hearing about this. They could say, well, it's just a team meeting. Like how good is that going to be for your team? Or they'd say, well, the guys, they're not going to be into it. Like they're not going to care about what I'm talking about. They're not going to focus. They're just, they're just tile contractors. What do they care? Or, I've never done a team meeting. What do I even cover in these team meetings? And, Luke, if you want to go into the weeds of how we do this team meeting, we can talk about that today.
Yeah. We should get in the weeds a little bit, but I kind of want to back up at this point here. And I got a little bit ahead of myself. Brent, last time we talked, and spoke together and did the first interview, you were cruising along and making progress year after year. I mean, things were getting better and better. And, so what clicked in your head that you actually started to research and find, what was that story of why you started to research for something more, and how you found Harley and his team and started, working with him? Can we talk about the beginning of that relationship and what that looked like and the thought process there? Because I think that's remarkable. I think that's unique in itself, right? I mean, for a contractor to actually, realize that they need help and they're going to invest in their business in themselves.
Yeah, great question. I believe it was in Flooring Store Owners Facebook group.
Okay.
that Redmond Growth Consulting was suggested. And I can't think back now 9 months ago who suggested that. And I wonder which one of your colleagues, Harley, is working with another floor store that suggested it. But there it was. They posted the link to Redmond Growth. And I knew my weaknesses. I feel like I understand my weaknesses and I understand my strengths. In the more responsibilities and as we grow, I understand even more how many weaknesses I have and where I want to invest my time. And I'm just having fun right now. Like, this is fun and I'm enjoying it. And I'm enjoying delegating every damn thing out, including to Harley. You know this. You tell me to do things and I'm like, yeah, I got a guy for that. I know someone who's better than that. And I don't know how that comes off, but I guess I know where I want to be and I know what makes me happy and I know where I can produce the best. And I knew my weaknesses were understanding the financial end of things, you know, and I needed to get a grasp on that. Mm-hmm. And I that's where I clicked on the link. I read the reviews, and of course I was super hesitant of hiring something off of Facebook. And then I did some research. I read the reviews. I must have filled out a contact form, like contact me, right? And Harley called and we chatted and he told me the details. And I'm trying to think back of the questions he asked me. I think he must have asked me of what my goals were. I told him what the goals were. He told me he could help me. My goals were to understand my numbers, like how it's simple now. I think back of where my struggles were not even a year ago. How much money do I need to make just to pay my bills? And don't get me wrong, I was paying my bills. I've always just felt by opening up my Wells Fargo business account, I knew I was doing well. There was money in there and I was paying the bills. So it's not like I had a problem, but I didn't know how I really got there, to be honest. I didn't know why I was doing well other than charging a lot of money and being efficient at what we do and having the right guys doing the work. And it was kind of that's how I was running this whole time. And now Harley's really helped me dial that in, understanding the numbers. So I'd say what led me to trust him and hire him was there was no contract. You know, if I had to sign a contract, I don't even know if we would have been here today, Harley, because the trust factor for me would have been like, man, skeptical, right? Not trusting, buying something off a line. Oh, and I know what it was. Harley, you gave me like 3 people to call. And so I called all 3 of these people and he goes, well, and these guys were great. They sold the system. They sold Harley as a person. They sold the Redmond Growth as a company. And I was able to, I realized I was talking to real people, Yeah. I wasn't, I didn't feel like they were getting a commission check from Harley on what they were. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool, man. I love it. And it sounds like really your one of your main goals was to understand the numbers and understand how you got there and understand, how you can continue to improve, right? Specifically with, profit percentages, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I thought with the easy approach of here's what it's going to cost for 1 month and here's the time I'm going to give you within that 1 month and here's how we're going to do it. I thought, well, okay, I'll cough up a 1 month fee and you got 4 weeks to prove your worth, Harley. And within 4 meetings, it was like, all right, let's do it another month. Here's the check. Let's go another month. And what month was it, Harley? Like maybe month 2.5 where I had like a freak out moment of where I just was like, I don't know if this is right. I don't know what it was. Something was happening where it just didn't something wasn't clicking, and things went. Do you recall that phone call?
Oh yeah, I do.
And you had a pretty good come to Jesus moment with me.
Yeah, it's I've done this now for almost 4 years, working with business owners, Luke, and I've noticed a trend where in the first month, 2 months, 3 months, there's typically a call or something I have to have with them.
Yeah.
Where they want to grow and they want to have the success, but I don't know, anybody that's tried to improve themselves or find success also finds, for whatever reason, more hurdles they have to jump past that just weren't there before, because they're confronting problems that they didn't know that they needed to confront or didn't have to confront or avoid it, because they weren't trying to improve themselves. So about a month and a half into it, yeah, Brent, you're calling me and be like, hey man, I don't know. I'm the more I dig into it, the more problems I feel like I'm finding. This is really annoying. Do I even want to grow this business? Like, just God almighty. And so, I don't know. I don't know if you remember what kept you going here for now 8 months, Brent, or you can speak to that, but we've gotten past it and we've got some really cool things to talk about now. So
I like how you mentioned that, like after a few months of, working with a contractor and really development on all levels. I think development, anytime we do something hard, you have that resistance that's just out there, and it's in your mind, it's in your, it's in you, right? It's this resistance.
Yeah.
It's so uncomfortable.
I wanted to go back to my comfortable maintain mode.
Yeah.
You can quote me on that. You could talk to all my staff. I used the phrase, guys, all we got to do is just maintain what I've created and we'll all be fine. Just maintain what I've created.
Yeah.
And then these goals and growth gets presented in front of me in a clear path. No, not a clear path. I mean, it wasn't clear to me, but Harley has the vision, the knowledge, and all I had to do was submit, if you will, to following the system. And it scared the crap out of me, because it was work. It is work. And I had enough work. I had enough irons in the fire. Like I need more work, right?
Well, let's talk about systems for just 1 second. Because, when it comes to the numbers and really your main goal, we remember, I'm sure Harley had a system. And Harley, can you walk us through your system for helping a contractor learn and determine, the price they should be charging? How do you approach that?
Yeah. So I don't know, specifically for Brent, he was already doing financially fine because every month would come by. He's continuing to get more business. And so you're showing off your sunroof there. That's nice.
I thought it would add better light, but it's better dark. Not showing off.
But what we did was we simply started to implement a system called Profit First.
Okay. Which
is just a fabulous system for anybody to use, even if you think you're doing well or you feel like you're not making any money at all. I highly suggest anybody listening to this order Profit First. The main author is Mike Michalowicz, that we follow, and we're actually certified to teach this to business owners. But we implement this system where essentially whenever a check comes in, we are always setting aside something to the profits before it could get eaten up by any of the expenses.
Yeah.
And we did something extra with Brent where we actually set up a separate account to store the material expense of what he had budgeted for his job prior to anything else happening. Okay. So now anything that's in the OpEx is just covering overhead and labor. And he also sees what's in his profits, and he always has money for materials. It's right there in a bank account. So it just makes it super easy to manage cash flow. So that's a specific system that we did for them. There's probably some better details that any other guy could use here that would be helpful, because with any system, whether it's managing cash flow or making sure an office person does their good work, or making sure their guys know how to complete some kind of job. The business exists to serve you and your goals. And if your goals are just to grow a business for the heck of it, or to have a business, then you got to think bigger than that. Because there's a lot of business owners out there where they're owning things like Jimmy John's or Little Caesars, where they don't care about pizza. What they care about is building a war chest of wealth to fund their kids' college.
Sure.
Or funding their retirement, or finally getting that boat or a yacht or whatever, or like a nice big deck, which Brent can show you photos about. He's got a nice deck in the backyard now.
Nice.
But the business exists to serve you. And if it's not, and it's not serving you when it's not profitable, or you don't even know if it's profitable. So if you care about having a company that scales and truly lasts for the long haul, then you'll want to care about what your net profits are, even if you're not a math guy or you're not a numbers guy. You're going to get someone like myself or a really good CPA or a really good bookkeeper to figure this out. Yeah. And so, I don't know, there's more details we could talk about like edging up to being able to be a profitable contractor or knowing what your pricing should be. But that's essentially what we were working on with Brent. So
okay.
Yeah, so the profit first would be one system we implemented. The next would be the systems within the crew. So, that's me personally, a system we implemented into the financing end. But then I think something remarkable that Harley was able to do with me, and I think this could apply to a lot of guys, because we're attracting new guys here, and I'm bringing on new guys that have zero experience but appear to have really good work ethic. So what am I going to do? Am I going to spend all this time with every new guy that comes in and explain to them how it needs to happen? I thought this was an impossible task, and we worked on this for quite a few phone calls. The way that Harley extracted information out of my brain and put it on paper, I still look at this paperwork, Harley, going, how did we get that on paper? And I'll give you an example. And I'd be happy to share this too, Luke.
Okay, great.
The systems and procedures this is to my employees now, right? My installers. We start at 7:30, right? What do we do at 7:30? Well, before implementing the system, they'd stand around and wait for me to make point and direct and tell them where to go. And sure. I had to do that every morning. Ben, you go here. Nate, you're going there. Hey, you want to go clean out the van from yesterday? Now it's on a piece of paper, and everybody understands when you punch in at 7:30, you are expected to be getting the van ready to. The van is completely dialed in and it's organized, but it's a mess from yesterday. It's on paper. You don't wait for me to tell you what to do. Go to the van, start cleaning it. The work orders go here. Grab a work order, start loading the materials for the job that day. And then here's the part that I thought could never happen. Harley asks me, and Harley has no flooring installation experience. So I think like Harley's asking me these questions that like, dude, you don't get it. He's asking me, how do you install tile, Brent? How do you install tile? What kind? Where? On what? Vertically? On the floor? In a shower? And I've just... my mind's blown that he can ask me, that's like the customer calling up saying, how much do you charge a square foot? What? Where? Well, Yeah. We got it on paper. How do you install tile? Well, here's how you start a tile job, and here's how you finish a tile job. And it's not like we're explaining like how to mix mud, but we broke it down to how do you install tile? No. How is it titled?
How do you
How
start
do
a
you
job?
how do you start a job? There you go. Before you can install a tile, you got to
Yeah.
start a job, right?
Yeah.
So you get to work at 7:30 and you load up the van. You read the work order of where we're going. Okay, load the materials. Then we get to the client's home, meet them, greet them, figure out if you need to lock up, if they have questions about when we're coming back, get all these things out of the way. And these are just things that I'm doing on a daily basis. And I don't even realize they're repetitious.
Mm.
And by me just having conversations just like this, Harley's like making notes, 1, 2, 3. And he goes, okay, so what are you going to do if you're tiling a backsplash? Well, we're going to find the easiest access to the backsplash. Okay. Then what? Well, then we're going to put down drop claws from the garage door or that entryway point to our workspace. Okay. Then what? Then we're going to cover the countertops. Okay. Then what? Well, we're going to figure out, are we setting the wet saw up on the front sidewalk or in the garage? Okay, great. Determine that. We got it all on a sheet. Exactly. I don't have to say squat in the morning. The guys know exactly what's expected of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of it, it's so simple now, Harley, but I thought it was a joke when you asked me, how do you start a tile job? I'm like, dude, you don't know what you're asking me. Like this.
Yeah, you were probably thinking like, hey, stay out of the tile thing. I got this covered. I hired you to help me with the numbers and the business end. What does this have to do with business? And what it has to do is, it is simple, right? It sounds simple. Anybody you're paying to install tile already knows how to install tile, but you've created a system and a process to where you don't have to be there at 7:30 in the morning, like you said, to say, all right, you don't have to give them permission anymore. You don't have to be the one pointing, which that's the comfort zone, right? That is what most contractors will hang on to. Some of them will hang on to it forever to the detriment of the business, because it really restricts the business. It restricts your family life. I mean, what do you do when you go on vacation? You hope and pray that somebody does what they're supposed to do, but you're not there to tell them what to do to go to the job. So you've created a system and a checklist. Yes, we protect the countertops. Yes, we vacuum. Yes, oh yeah, and we all need those. Business owners, I mean, everybody needs those, right? And it's not a matter of, oh, you don't get it, you don't know how to do it. It's like, no, I need a reminder to, go to the gym. I need a reminder to, brush my teeth sometimes. It's like those little tiny things that when it comes to business and employees and chaos throughout the day, that you really, it really makes a difference.
I want to wrap back around to systems, because I'm already hearing objections from guys listening to this show.
Yeah.
Of like, oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah.
But you talked about the little things and trying to remember those and keep track of what's going on. A big thing Brent and I worked on is something else that's really simple that a lot of people hear about, but nobody consistently does it, is having a good calendar to manage your time, and using a to-do list to be able to track the items on your checklist, to as simple as a paper to-do list.
Yeah.
You don't need an app. Just get it on a paper and plan it.
Yeah.
And one piece of paper, not multiple Post-it notes everywhere.
I feel like you're talking to me.
No, yeah, not multiple, like one paper book that is attached to you as much as your cell phone in your pocket. That is your go-to for everything. Everything's right there.
Interesting.
And I lose it often.
Because I was just about to ask, like, oh, what calendar app are you using?
Well, I mean, you can use whatever you want.
Sure.
My big point is you got to use one.
You got to use what works.
Yeah, one
calendar.
Okay.
Pick one.
You got one life. So why are you trying to split up work and life and other random things and all these different calendars? It distracts the focus.
Yeah.
And there's already a big quote we use in the office is the pen is for memory and the mind is for execution.
Nice.
So you write stuff down on a calendar and then write stuff on a to-do list. So your mind is freed up to think about solving problems instead of trying to remember to call those people that you send estimates to so that you can actually close them,
Yeah.
You just have it on a list.
Yeah. I like that. Get it out of your mind and on the paper.
If I could go back to the systems, though, there were objections I heard in my head.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where one of them was, well, I mean, like I could just imagine contractors saying, well, sure, I could write up this stuff. Well, first of all, I don't even have the time to write up all this stuff. You want me to just sit there and come up with this stuff in a brainstorm session? I got work to do. And then the second thing is, sure, even if I created these checklists, I don't feel like my guys are going to follow it. They're like, I can barely to get them to do anything throughout their day. Like I have to be there to give them orders and everything. And all these problems, the reason why systems are even a thing that we talk about is because this is what the best businesses do. Like, how the heck can McDonald's create all of these restaurant locations and have, I mean, they've got lists for everything about how you do anything in a McDonald's, in a Jimmy John's, in a Domino's, in a Ben Franken Plumbing. I mean, this is where every business does systems. And, contractors have this excuse of like, oh my gosh, it's so complex. I have all these years of experience doing this. Well, here's the problem. We have a national hiring shortage for everybody. And before the pandemic, it was already hard to find really capable people. So what we have to do is we have to realize, take in the reality that, wow, that perfect guy that has several years of experience and is a great dude probably isn't out there. and if they are, it's going to take forever, and they'll probably leave and go somewhere else by the time I find the next guy, which is why all these contractors are stuck at their level of just one or two guys, which a big win for Brent is because he's leaned into all this stuff and implemented systems and done all these things. He's got the biggest crew that he's had. Like by February, you're going to be at 10 people, right?
I'll have 9 on payroll in February. Possibly 10. We're still working on the 10th, possibly 10.
So,
congratulations.
So that's the biggest this team has been since the recession in 2008.
Wow. Yeah.
That's
great.
It's crazy good. And he's not getting any less busy.
Right.
He's only getting busier, and his work is remarkable. One of the things that's remarkable is that it's public. So if you go and Google him, he's got way more reviews, and he's got a way better looking platform for himself online than anybody else. So, I mean, he's just getting more people to just check him out randomly that haven't talked with him or didn't talk to a referral. And so
I love it.
These excuses that we come up with in our head you just got to get past them. And you just got to say, man, these are what the best businesses do. So even if I think it's impossible, I got to know it was possible for somebody. So I got to figure this out, because this is just what has to happen.
I would say I bucked everything Harley told me, because it went against my comfort zone, and that's not going to work. That's not how you do it here, man. You're way over there. I'm here in small town, Silver Lake. That ain't going to work. And as I started to just fall into it, I've now learned to just go with it. Just embrace it. I may have had these ideas and I never knew how to execute them, or Harley has a lot of ideas I never had. And even when he says them, I'm like, I don't know that I want to implement it like that into my company.
Right.
But I've learned to just go with it, and it works out.
Oh, here's the coolest part, Brent, is because you said this, like, I'm in small town Silver Lake. Nobody else is doing this. I haven't been doing this. Why am I going to do this? Well, it's because no one else is doing this. You should do it.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make you remarkable. That's what's going to keep these people on staff. That's another thing too. Like you could talk about implementing all this stuff with checklists and guidelines and rules and stuff. And, these other contractors might think, well, my guys aren't going to handle that. They're going to go to some other job where they don't have to be taking orders like this. They can keep being who they have been.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing with Brent that he's been leaning into is we identified core values for what he expects of his team. And he reminds this team of core values regularly with weekly team meetings. And he praises people and challenges them to step up and be better, more capable individuals. And that's the craziest part, is that you challenge people to step up. And if they're good character people, players love that.
Yeah.
They love being able to go and work as a tile contractor, but their life is improving as a result of working as a tile contractor, and no one else is doing that.
Yeah. Brent, we've spoken, and I don't think anybody would argue that the business owner, the contractor, is resistant to a lot of these ideas. Obviously it's working out for you, and you got over that hump, right? How about your team? Were they resistant to these ideas at first, or how did they respond to these ideas of, hey, we're going to do things different from now on? And from what I understand, it sounds like you're actually installing less now than you were last time we talked.
I'm still out in the field, but we're working on that. That's the whole goal. That's the game plan, is to get me out of the field.
And you've been getting out of the field less. The last 2-3 weeks, you've been in the office much more than ever. So.
Yeah, I have. So how did they handle it? Better than I handled it, to be truthful, because all the pressure was on me to call this meeting at 7:30, and my office manager does not start until 8:30. Mm-hmm. All the installation staff starts at 7:30, so I had to ask her to come in an hour earlier on a Monday morning, and she's very vocal that she's not a morning person. So I was scared to death of Kathy going asking her to come in an hour earlier. And that was one of my biggest hangups, going oh God, I got to tell Kathy to come in an hour earlier on a Monday. And all these scenarios went through my head, and I had my reply all mentally figured out in my head of when she argues it. And she goes, okay. 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 And the guys were already coming in at 7:30. Now the only difference was, hey guys, let's all huddle together, and there's coffee, there's breakfast. What do you guys want for breakfast? We got a good little deli gas station here in town. So you want burritos? You want an Egg McMuffin? Cookies? Tell me what you want. Well, you'll have it next Monday. So now they're getting breakfast out of the deal. Mm-hmm. And kind of the way that the meetings go briefly is we talk about a win first. We always start on a positive note with a win. And it's non-work related. Can't talk about work.
Okay.
It's a win at home. Yeah. And a lot of the guys are like, I didn't do nothing, so therefore that was good. All right, good. Sometimes doing nothing is good.
A lot of R&R, huh? All right.
Nobody gets as excited as I do. Let's say that, which is whatever. But once we move past the wins, then it's all right, guys, let's talk about last week. And we always go backwards first. What happened last week? What do we need to know? And Kathy's always making the notes as the office manager. As the guys are well, we ran out of that molding last week. Oh, I didn't even know that. When were you going to tell me that? Well, they were waiting for the Monday morning meeting. I wish I had known sooner, but yeah, we ran short on a T molding. I need another Jolly metal. Okay, get it going. So Mrs. Jones told me this. Did you know Mrs. Jones wants you to measure her backsplash? Nope, didn't know that. Okay. So we go backwards and we discuss what could have we done better? What went wrong last week? What went wrong? Let's dig into it. What do we need to know? All right, let's talk about this week now. And then the goals for this week. Everyone knows what we're trying to get accomplished. And as Harley mentioned, on occasions we get into a reminder of the core values. I always try to praise someone on who's been following the core values of the company. And Yeah, implementing that system. That's a weekly thing. I couldn't imagine not doing it now. And then everyone has an option to talk, and it's creating a team. Everyone realizes they're valued within the company, and some of the cooler things within the company are happening within my own staff. And it's not just me having to do things. They're more involved in the company. They have a say. And why wouldn't they? They're employed here. Why would they not have a say?
How have your employees, installers, taken to the idea of you being in the field less?
I feel they're embracing it. I feel like they want that to happen for me. So encouragement.
That's great. That's really good to hear. And I'm glad that's the case. And it often is. And we just have to get over that in our own heads as contractors, that if you're going to be a business owner and employ 10 people or more, or even 5 or more, it's really time to start thinking about your exit out of the field and get yourself in the office.
Well, I really talk about my goals. So I feel why they're supporting me and not looking at me like, lucky guy, I'm stuck here installing. I don't want to see Brent get off his knees. He's got to be down here with us too. No, sure. I feel why I'm getting support from my team is because I talk about my goals. And just to touch on one goal is I really want to get us into a better location. Mm-hmm. I want better vans. I want to get them in a heated shop. I want to get into a better building, and that's better for everybody. Then you're working for my company. That's going to be an asset. You're coming to a place of business that's just new.
Yeah. And
that's our next goal. And they know the only way we're going to get to that goal is by them allowing me to get there, get off my knees and focus on the business. And they seem really encouraging because I'm also talking to them about, I want to see you get off your knees someday. You're not stuck here on your knees till you're crippled.
Yeah. I love
and the next step is like talking a management position. Mm-hmm. So I feel those are a couple of key points of what is allowing my staff to support me.
No, thank you. I appreciate it because that's very valuable information for the listeners.
Good.
It looked like you were, sorry. You threw me off there, Harley.
Oh, sorry.
You intimidated me over there.
Yeah.
Oh, I get my hair as big, but it's okay. It's nice. Yeah.
Well, this is great stuff. I mean, it sounds like you're just booming, and we talked a little bit about pricing and we talked about how, your prices were good. You were making money. Have you noticed any room for improvement? Are you raising your prices? And if so, where does that put you? Because I know last time we talked, you are on the higher end in your small area there.
Yeah, so we've raised our prices. We look at all of our projects from an hourly standpoint. I've been doing that for years. I've implemented, we can't just be a flat rate square foot company. I think the biggest win that I would like to talk about as far as implementing this profit first is just not. And if it seems scary to implement this whole new system of like taking your profit before the job is completed, that was so hard for me to wrap my head around. And understand, profit first means you take your profit of the job first before you start it. And what does that do? And it forces you, because guys, you got to be taking money down. So we're taking half down of a project, materials and labor. So on that 50% check, Harley, what percentage of profit are we pulling out of a down payment?
Oh, you're challenging right now. I don't have the agenda open. But I think we're now, I think it's 15% that's taken out going to just profits. It's a little bit less than the final check. whether it's 10, 15 or something, it's a little bit less because Brent's also setting aside the materials first so that he's not having to do the rob Peter, pay Paul situation.
So the profit comes after the materials were paid.
Yeah. And that was, I mean, that's a decision that Brent wanted to do because he just didn't know
so it's gross.
How much of his money was going to materials, you know?
You're taking the gross profit out of the initial deposit, right? Is that how you would say that? Or the
not the gross profit, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're allocating an expense to go into how many different accounts we've got.
Right, because you have like 6 or 7 bank accounts with the profit first model, right? Quite a few bank accounts. So I see what you're saying. So you're just allocating the monies and where they go. That's right.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And it's
notes. Here we go. Here's the notes. So for down payment checks, you send whatever's necessary for the job to the materials account. Just so that you're not doing the rob Peter, pay Paul situation.
Sure.
Then split up whatever's left over for these percentages. He started with like 5 or 10% going to profits. And then we had some percentages going to taxes and the rest going into just everything else. And then the final payment check, he splits up more going to the profits and still has some going to taxes and then overall expenses. But now like Brent was just confessing to me like a couple weeks ago, like, hey, we got so much money in our taxes right now. Like this is like, we're not going to pay anything near this. So we've been ramping up what's been going to the profits now. So that's the fun part is that you implement profit first and you're consistent with it. It only gets nicer where you see more money in that bank account. And it's like, wow, okay, that's really fun. I just get to see like $50,000 there. It's not supposed to go anywhere. That blows people's minds.
It's supposed to be all bundled in one account. You know, it's like you feel warm and fuzzy when it's in all one checking account and you go, yeah, there it is. I like to see it all together. Wait, divide it up into 5 subcategories? Why? I want to see it totaled. No, that just because that makes you feel warm and fuzzy. What's that one account show you? Nothing. Dissect it and pull it apart. And I got to talk about a big win that we just discovered 2 weeks ago where the profit first just hit home for me. We did a pre-tax appointment with my CPA because I knew we were doing better than last year and I didn't want to get caught off guard with any taxes at the end of the year. So I emailed over my QuickBooks, a CPA file. He looked at it and he calls me back. And, you know, I pay my quarterly taxes based upon a 10% growth of the last year because I'm always hopeful that I'm going to do 10% more than the year before. So I'm paying my quarterlies based off of a 10% growth of last year. And we've already paid in our 4th quarter. So we should, based upon last year, be 0. I should have a year-end tax appointment saying, Brent, you don't know anything in taxes.
Right.
You know what he tells me?
You got money back. What?
Brent, you owe $15,000 in taxes. I made $70,000 more than last year. And that's not growth. That's not gross income. That's what I'll be claiming.
Okay.
So thanks to profit first, guess what? There was all that money sitting in the tax account. And like I've been telling Harley, going, Harley, man, I just think there's too much money in taxes. I paid my quarterlies. I'm paid up. I think we're good. Okay. Have a meeting with your CPA. CPA tells me, Brent, you owe $15K. You mean we're doing that much better? And he's like, well, you know, you're 70 grand up. Oh.
And that's net. That's net.
Right.
So way more in total revenues that we'll find out at the end of the year. So
And it was there. It doesn't even feel painful. I hung up the phone smiling, going, awesome.
Yeah,
that's
you
great.
Already had it allocated. I
had it allocated. It's there. Just It was never mine to touch or own.
I love it.
Right? If it was all in one account, I would have claimed that.
You would have spent it on something.
I would have claimed it as mine.
Oh, sure.
I would have bought the new truck, right?
Yeah.
I would have claimed it as my money. But let's face it, the 5-10% that we were taking from every check, and we were just putting it in the tax account. And I'm going, Harley, we should dial this back a bit, man. Like, I think we're allocating too much to taxes, which we do have more than what we need. That $15K will not zero me out. It was never mine to own. Let's face it. You got to pay your dues. And there it was. Take it out of the account, pay your taxes. We're going to be golden. That's a big win. That's a big win. Because I don't think most guys, when their accountant says you owe 15 grand extra, that could be some devastating news.
Yeah. And they're also probably not chuckling after they talk to their tax guy.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people who say they were laughing and smiling after they talked to their tax guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that I like it. It's not like I want to give that. Yeah, I'd love to keep it. But let's face it, if you're going to play by the rules, you got to pay your taxes.
And it didn't make you anxious. It didn't raise your blood pressure because you knew exactly, you had it. You're like, all right, let's do it.
It's that. Yeah.
That's what it's there for. I love it. What a win, guys. Well, this has been a great idea, Brent. I'm so glad you introduced me to Harley and brought him on today. Did we miss anything, Harley? Any last words from either of you?
Oh, well, I'll let you go first, Brent. You're the star of the show.
Any final words? I'm pretty jacked up. I brought the whole team. I brought everybody to Schluter Systems Part 2.
Nice.
So, just had a 2-day experience with Schluter Systems. I brought the team, and that was great. I walked away. I know Schluter Systems. I've been pretty loyal with them for about 12 years. So it's not me Part 2, like, oh yeah, I learned how to install Curdy better. The networking, gosh, there's some cool things I'm jacked up about that I'm going to implement, and got to meet some new people and made a couple new connections. Mm-hmm. And it was just having fun. And it felt really cool that I could bring my team there and pay them for 2 days to be there.
Man, that's huge.
And
congratulations. That's an achievement to be proud of.
Yeah, thank you. So.
And great leadership. I mean, I'm sure they had a heck of a time too, and really appreciated that.
Yeah, we had fun.
I know you ate well, and had a nice.
Yeah, we ate well.
Yeah,
I ordered top shelf whiskey,
Nice.
2 days. Thanks, Schluter Systems.
That's right. They treat you right.
Yeah, they do.
Well, that's great. Wow, they had a great time out there. Yeah, if I could wrap a bow on this whole topic that you have of like what can a tile contractor be remarkable? I think hopefully, listener, if you're out there, which are out there, a lot of people listen to your show. But if you're able to learn anything here, is that your company can be remarkable, but it's never going to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Brent hopefully agrees on this point I'm about to say, but whenever you want to change what's going on in your world, whenever you want to change things in your business, there needs to be a change agent, something pushing you, because you've been doing it the same for a while now. And whether it's listening to Tile Money podcast and being avid listener here, or it's reading business books, or it's getting someone like myself or like someone at a consulting firm, coaching firm, to be like, hey, this is what you got to do. Mm-hmm. You need that voice of accountability to push you to do things that you yourself may not be comfortable with. I mean, I got to do this with myself. You got to have good people around you to push you positively. And so if you're listening to Brent's story here, you like all the successes and you want to know more about how the heck he's been able to do this. If you're listening, you're a tile guy, I'm happy to share anything that Brent has done and share copies of that for you so that you can just implement it. But I'd also like for you to just go to redmondgrowth.com or just heck, my cell phone number is 972-207-3100. Text me if you're interested in doing this. And I'd be happy to talk with you for an hour, hear about your business, what's going on, and tell you the pathway that's worked for Brent and works with almost 150 guys that we work with now.
Yeah.
All in all sorts of different business industries, because you want to be remarkable. You want to have a business you're proud of. You want to have a business that employees are looking at or prospects are looking at, and think that you're a remarkable company to work for, so that they stay with you. And we'd love to help you with that. So again, my number is 972-207-3100. Hit me up, and I'm happy to give you anything you need in order for you to succeed. So
we'll put that phone number as well as the website link in the show notes, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening in your podcast player, so that you can just text Harley or email him, get on their website and check them out. So once again, guys, this has been really a great show. Really appreciate all the knowledge you shared, and I want to celebrate with your success and drink some of that top Scotch whiskey with you one day, Brent. Looking forward to doing that.
Likewise, Luke. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been just a pleasure chatting with you, and just doing this just gets me more fired up just to come to work tomorrow and just be excited where I'm at.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we'll do it again.
Totally. Total shout out to Brent here. He's over there. Brent, because he's the guy that's leaned in.
Yeah.
And he's got the biggest crew that he's ever had. He's making more than he's ever made. He's keeping that money, and his business is exciting now, which is awesome. So
he's a purple cow.
Yes, he's the purple cow. Congratulations to you, Brent. You're gonna have a crazy year next year. All right.
Awesome. I love it.
Can't wait.
I love it. All right, gentlemen. Well, you have a good day. All right, tile friends, I hope you enjoyed getting to know Brent a little bit better, as well as Harley, his business mentor, who they've been working together. And I thought it was a really great conversation, very insightful to the power of, putting some money where your mouth is and hiring somebody to help you with your business. So if you're on the fence about it, give me a call and we can talk about different options that you might have when it comes to that. All right, tile friends. Well, listen, if you want to stay in touch with all things Tile Money and Luke Miller, the best way to do that is to subscribe to our mailing list, email list. You can find that at tilemoney.com. Link is in the show notes. Follow me on social media, at Tile Money, pretty much everywhere. On TikTok, I'm getting started over there. All right, tile friends. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook every day. I'm easy to get a hold of. You can call me, 831-588-0417. Give me a text. Please stay profitable, tile friends. All right, over and out. We'll talk to you next week. Hope you're all having a great, happy, positive week. Talk to you soon.